Today is Saturday, August 24th, 2024, and I apologize I haven't been able to come on here to talk about days 22 and 23 of transcranial magnetic stimulation therapy, or TMS, for depression and anxiety. My goal was to make one video every day that I'm undergoing treatment to talk about how the treatment felt and talk about any changes in my mood, but my life has been totally hectic since I got back to work. And so I wasn't able to make a video yesterday or today, so this video will be talking about that. Some good news, something that I'm noticing a lot more as of recently is that I'm able to feel a little bit more joy, I think, or happiness. I don't know how to explain it. Um, so even when I'm watching that psychiatrist, his name is Dr. K, the healthy gamer that I've talked about before, he sometimes cracks jokes or he starts talking in like a funny Indian accent, right? Um, and like in the past, I would watch his videos and wouldn't really like feel any emotion or really anything, but I'm noticing like little things. So now when he cracks a joke, like it'll make me smile or it'll make me laugh. So maybe some of that anhedonia or some of that numbness is wearing off for the depression, or um, that it's easier for me to experience more emotions, I guess. And then I noticed it also like the past couple days working with my kids in speech therapy, because I work as a speech therapist for two different schools. Um, for there's an SDC class, a special day class for like older kids, middle school through like high school, I think. And when I have to work with those kids, for some of them, depending on the severity of their condition, for some of them, I have to go into their classroom and look for them. For others, I will just call the classroom and ask the teacher to send the student over to the speech room, and they can navigate like the campus on their own and get to the speech room. But for the ones that I have to go and pick them up myself, they're a little bit more on a severe side, even though we technically in the school we only serve mild to moderate. For the schools that I'm working with, we only work with mild to moderate at this point. We don't work with more like severe or profound disabilities. But even some of those moderate kids, they're more on that more severe side of the moderate category, if that makes sense. So for those kids, yesterday I went in to look for one of the kiddos who has been absent we've been back to school for 3 weeks, and he has been absent the whole 3 weeks. I don't know. He's probably going to end up getting dropped from the school. I went in to look for him. I like opened the classroom door, and there are two other older kiddos. One of them is in eighth grade, and I think the other one's in ninth grade, who I just recently started working with. This is my first year working on them, working with them, and I opened the door, and one of them, who's like minimally verbal, who we're just really I'm starting to get to know him and trying to see what kind of stuff he likes, but he doesn't talk much. He's more on that like severe end that I was talking about. He turned and he looked at me and he had a huge smile on his face. And we don't know much about this kid yet. He's new to the school. Teacher says that he's just very quiet. He doesn't talk much, and that's been my experience too. But just the way that he was looking at me, and the teacher's assistant said, he is so happy to see you. Like, I can tell right now how excited he is to see you. And that just made me smile. Like, it warmed my heart, right? And then the other kiddo, who's also more on the severe side, like he just got up off his desk and he said, Miss Janelle, hi. And he had like the biggest smile on his face. And I was like, hey, so good to see you. So little things like that I think before, of course I would smile and react the same way, but I don't think that I was really feeling any of the joy, right? Any of the like happiness, or I think I'm able to feel those feelings, the positive feelings more now, which is a good thing. And I don't know if that is due to the TMS treatment or not, but I just thought that I would mention that. Um, we got to the max intensity on my protocol currently, which is 120 um, for depression, 120 as far as the intensity. of the tapping on the right side, on the left side, and 125 for anxiety on the right side. So for the past 2 days, we have been at the max intensity. Doesn't hurt, feels a little bit uncomfortable, and I could tell that the tapping is more intense. But another thing that I've noticed is it's louder now. The tapping sounds a lot louder. I'm still not at a point where I think I need to tell them I need like earplugs, which they do have in the office, and they do tell me like if you ever feel like it's too loud, you need earplugs. We have some here. But I have definitely noticed that the loudness has increased, and I wonder if that has something to do with the difference between intensity and threshold. Maybe the loudness has something to do with the threshold or the magnitude of the like electrical signals that they're sending to the brain, and that's why it's louder, because it doesn't feel a lot harder. Like it's not painful or anything. It's still just kind of an odd sensation to feel like a woodpecker is just constantly pecking at your head at your skull. Um, but yeah, that's really all I've noticed. Like I think the day before yesterday, I had a little bit of a headache and I was exhausted, so I went to sleep. Yesterday, I didn't get a headache. I was fine. It is the weekend, and I tend to feel more depressed on the weekend, which is to be expected at this point. I've talked about it in a couple videos in the past, so I do feel like my mood is a little bit lower. I kind of feel bad because I feel like I overspent again. I went on Amazon and bought a bunch of workbooks and activities and books to read to my kids in speech therapy, which wouldn't be such a bad thing, except I don't have money, so I have to pay with a firm, which means now I have a loan that I have to pay off. But like one of the reasons I did that is because I feel like I don't ever have time to plan or organize my sessions, because a lot of them are back to back, or I only have 10 or 15 minutes in between sessions, and that barely gives me enough time to go and drop off the kids and go and pick up the next group, and I just feel like I never have time. Like a lot of my sessions are just I plan like on the fly, and it sucks because I feel like my therapy is not as effective that way. My sessions don't go well a lot of the time, like especially with the older kids that I'm working on grammar with. Like I start an activity, and by the time I see them again next week, I forget what we worked on previously, and I'll start working with them on something new. So I'm hoping that these workbooks will help me stay better organized and actually have a sequence of like lesson plans and things that I can work with them on. But did I really need those workbooks? No, I already have a bunch of like PDF resources and things that I've bought off teachers that I can use. So I don't know. Maybe some of the resources I needed, but they weren't like I need them now, right? They weren't like a necessity. So definitely I tend to overspend, and especially when I'm stressed out or depressed. And I brought that up to my psychiatrist, and he basically just said that's one of the symptoms of ADHD, and a lot of the symptoms of ADHD and bipolar disorder tend to overlap, and that's why some people have trouble differentiating it. I'm not diagnosed with bipolar disorder. My official diagnoses at this point are like major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and ADHD. The only medication I'm currently taking is azstarys, 26.1 milligrams, which is a stimulant medication for ADHD, which I eventually want to come off. Um, I want to come off it because I know the withdrawal symptoms are really bad. And I know that when I don't take it, I feel terrible when I forget to take it or when I run out. But I have so much going on in my life with my new semester. Fall semester starts on Monday. I'll be taking 3 graduate classes. I'm currently in graduate school for speech and language pathologist, and I'm pathology, and I'm also a speech therapist, full-time speech therapist at 2 schools on a waiver. And then I also have the TMS treatment going on and trying to find time to spend with my son. So I have so much going on that I feel like I can't afford to try to come off the stimulant medication at this point, because not too long ago when I did something similar and came off my medication, I ended up failing a graduate class and almost getting kicked out of graduate school, and I don't want that to happen again. So I have to wait till I have like winter break or summer break or something before I can start tapering off the stimulant medication when I don't have work and school and all of these other things on the line. Um, what else? What else? What else? I just feel bad that I overspent. Also, I did find someone who wants to buy my Tesla, which I talked about in a previous video that after this school year, I have to stop working because I have to do a full-time internship, unpaid, um, doing what I'm doing now, but for a different school district. And the entire year is going to be completely unpaid because supposedly it's part of the graduate program that they're training me, even though I've already been working as a speech therapist for 2 years, almost 2 years. So it doesn't make sense, but that's part of the requirement. So I'm going to be really broke for an entire year. I might end up getting like a part-time job, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough to keep up the lifestyle that I have right now. Even though technically I live with my parents, but I have all of these bills, credit card bills, loans, my car payment, and all of these things. Even though I don't drive, they use my car to drive me to and from work and other places. So I have to get rid of my Tesla because I'm not going to be able to afford the payment um, next year. I found someone online who wants to buy it, um, and that'll pay off the loan and leave me with like 3 grand. But the thing is, I lost the registration, and obviously, like his bank is gonna buy out my loan, and they need the registration. Have you guys ever heard of the ADHD tax? If I'm explaining it correctly, it's this thing where us people with ADHD are constantly losing and misplacing things, and so we have to pay extra and constantly buy things over again. And that's me. I paid for a new registration to come be mailed to my house, but it hasn't been mailed. I haven't received it yet. Constantly losing things. I'm super disorganized. It's one of the most prominent symptoms of ADHD. One of the things that I really dislike about being in an SLP is all the meetings I have to attend, the assessments, and the really long reports that I have to write. And for a while, I thought about being a SLPA, which is an SLP, or speech therapist assistant, because I feel like they get to do all the fun stuff, which is just sessions, having speech therapy sessions with the kids, keeping data, and they're just reporting back to their supervising SLP because they need a supervisor SLP in order to do these things. And as a speech therapist, I have to do all that, plus assessments, plus reports, plus meetings. Not to talk down to any SLPAs or anything. I think you guys are amazing and the work you do is great. And I don't know what we would do without you guys. But for a while, I considered it because all you need is a bachelor's degree and some hours of like experience, right? Which the bachelor's degree, I already have a bachelor's degree in communication disorders. But then after thinking about it, I realized that if you're going to be an assistant to an SLP, you have to be very organized. You have to a lot of times keep their schedule organized, keep their meeting schedule organized, keep their materials organized and plan sessions. Sometimes just be an assistant, right? As on top of what you have to do as a speech therapist assistant, which is the sessions, you have to do a lot of the organizing and stuff for the supervising SLP, which I would be terrible at. This is why I need to be an SLP because I need a SLPA, a type A SLPA to keep me organized because I cannot. And that's what makes a lot of my work so difficult is that I struggle with organization, time management, and all of these other things. So I need a type A SLPA to survive as a speech therapist. Yeah, so the TMS treatment, again, wasn't painful, was a little bit uncomfortable, was louder than usual. Is it working? I don't know. I've noticed a little bit of mood changes. Right now, I'm depressed as usual because I usually am on the weekends or on the days that I don't work. And I've talked about that in the previous video and kind of why that is. But I've noticed some improvements here and there, which I guess like is a good thing. I don't know if it's because of the TMS or something else that I may be doing because I'm back in therapy, so that's another thing. But yeah, I will resume my TMS vlog videos on Monday. I'll try to be back on Monday for day 25 of TMS therapy. I'm over halfway there. They approved me for a total of 38 sessions. If I don't come back on Monday, I assure you I'll be back sometime next week. I may have to start lumping these videos into weekly videos instead of daily videos because my life is just so hectic right now. And with those additional 3 classes that I'll be taking on Monday, I don't know how much time I'm going to have to be making daily videos, but I definitely want to continue to make videos for my TMS journey. So stay tuned. Uh, and yeah, let me know down below if you have any questions or comments.